Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of the Alliance podcast. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Noah Weinrob. And Noah, Western Conference Finals coming up this week in the NBA. Eastern Conference Finals is Brunson versus Halliburton. What the Halliburton? And then on the West side, we have Anthony Edwards. You know, everyone loves him, and one of the most fun players to watch in the NBA. And then we have Mr. Aura himself on the other side, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Noah, what are your thoughts on these conference finals matchups and maybe
Wow, who would have thought before the playoffs started that both the Celtics and Cavs would be out in the second round by the Pacers and Knicks? Those two teams really impressed me a lot the second round, even with Tatum being hurt and obviously Hunter, Garland, and Mobley being out game two and Halliburton hit that game winner. Um, but still impressed me. And also in the first round, both the Pacers and Knicks both beat very solid teams in the Bucks and Pistons. I think this series is going to go to 7 games just because of how good the Pacers playoff role players, risers are, like Andrew Nembhard, Miles Turner. Siakam hasn't really been there, but he stepped up huge in last couple games for the Pacers against the Cavs. And then Benedict Mathurin, who obviously we saw him get in the head of DeAndre Hunter.
yeah.
Um, and then the Knicks just play not so little guys, but they do their job. Mikal Bridges, what a series he had against the Celtics. OG Anunoby had his best playoff series of his life. And then obviously Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson, and Cat doing what they do. The Knicks, I still think that it would have been a different series layout with Tatum on the court. He was dominating in game 4 right before he got hurt. I think they would have came back and won that game. But I'm not discrediting the Knicks. I think they did a great job. Obviously in game 6, won by like 40 or whatever. That game was over by halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Pacers in 7 just because I trust Tyrese Halliburton in the playoffs more than Jalen Brunson. You could argue those are the two best playoff performers in the East. And then in the West, the Thunder went to 7 with the Nuggets. Those you could make an argument for those two being the two best teams in the second round. They both played their tails off, but then in Game 7, the Thunder dominated. Jalen Williams, after having one of the worst games of his career in Game 6, had one of the best games of his career in Game 7. And then Chet stepped up big. Shea was really efficient. And then on the other side of things, teams we forgot about because they've been off for so long, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Like I said with the Knicks, I'm not going to really discredit them for the Steph injury, but I guess I will a little bit more because the Warriors just had no offensive scheme. Games 2 through 5, Jimmy wasn't himself, which he's 35 years old. Kind of makes sense. You can't rely on him to be playoff Jimmy every night in, night out at his age. And then like your second leading scorer, some of the series with Jonathan Kuminga. So like we said, series 1 with the Lakers, they didn't really have a big. The Warriors didn't really have a score, and they kept most of those games pretty close. So that's what I'm worried about. And obviously Anthony Edwards last year in the conference finals against higher quality of a matchup did not play well. They lost in a gentleman's sweep last year. You probably going to have Lou Dort on you all series, and I'm going to take the Thunder in 6. I think they're going to go back to that defensive identity that won them 68 games in 2 playoff series. Yeah, I think the Thunder are going to win that and the Pacers.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start in the Western Conference. And like we mentioned about J-Dub, he had some of the worst games of his career, honestly, against the Nuggets before Game 7. And then he had such an amazing game in Game 7, and we saw how good the Thunder played. I mean, it was just straight dominance the entire game against the Nuggets in Game 7. So I think if J-Dub can perform like he did in Game 7, the Thunder have it under control for sure. I think when everyone's firing at their best, that Thunder roster is amazing, like we saw all regular season. Shea, Chet, J-Dub, Alex Caruso off the bench was lighting it up. And Caruso was guarding Jokic for a while, which is insane to think about, and it was working. And I just think that Thunder team is so talented and so like well constructed. Just they're so deep and just have so many guys that play different roles and play them perfectly that it all meshes perfectly. And I had the Nuggets beating the Thunder, I'll be honest, but the Thunder in that Nuggets series proved a lot to me that that team is very well rounded, very deep. Everyone plays the right role. And I think they win in 7. I don't think it's going to be in 6 like you said. No, I think this series is going to be more competitive. I know the Timberwolves haven't played more than 5 games in a series this entire playoffs. They beat the Lakers in 5. They beat the Warriors in 5. Back-to-back series. They haven't really been like pushed to the next level really. It's kind of just like they've been breezing by. And like games 3 and 4 against the Lakers were pretty close, but still like Luka wasn't 100% healthy, and really like the Timberwolves haven't been pushed to like that next gear where they have to go like all in. Everyone's put their body on the line. They haven't had to do that. They've won both games, both series, pretty easily, both in 5 games, gentlemen sweeps. And it's the Timberwolves' second straight year in the Western Conference Finals, and we have to think: is Ant nearing the Timberwolves GOAT for the franchise history? I mean, Kevin Garnett left
Yeah.
decently early in his career to the Celtics. And if Ant brings a finals home to Minnesota, I think he's the franchise's GOAT right then and there.
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree because, like, and right when he got into the league, he was starting night in, night out. He hasn't had a bad season his entire career. He's had productive, and he's gotten better each year. Like last year, he's taken a whole new step this year than he did last year. As Seiya Suzuki with a 2-run shot. Um, but I think Ant is definitely right there. But I'm gonna give it one more year. I think he needs a better supporting cast around him for the Wolves to take that next step. No disrespect to Julius Randle, he's having an amazing playoffs. Best you can
Amazing.
ask for out of someone who hasn't done anything his entire career in the playoffs. He was hurt last year, and the years before that, he was just a playoff faller. Like in 2021, when he was the face of the franchise, they got beat pretty easily by the Hawks. But I like a couple weeks ago before the Warrior series, I was saying I don't trust Chris Finch. I think he's definitely also taken a step in the right direction. I mean, 2 Western Conference Finals back to back as a lower seed in the West is definitely something to be proud of. And I think the Timberwolves are just going to continue to take that step in the right direction because Ant is still very young. He's still one of the top young stars in the league. It just feels like he's been there for a while because of how much he's done year in year out to start his career.
Yeah, I think going into next year, especially with the Tatum Achilles injury, I think Ant is solidified himself as a top 5 player in basketball. I think you have Shea, Giannis, Jokic ahead of him, and then I think Ant is right there at that 4 spot. You could argue Luka Doncic, but just Luka's defense has been so worrisome his whole career, and just his athleticism, like Nico Harrison has been saying since he traded him, the athleticism and just the overall fit and healthiness of Luka's body isn't quite in the NBA shape that it needs to be. You know, Pat Riley's rule of a certain body fat percentage. I don't think Luka would pass that test one bit. I think Luka needs to put down some of the extra food and beverages, if you will. And I think Ant's right there at that 4 to 5 spot, are like battling with Luka right there, and whoever isn't that at that 4 spot's the 5 spot. So I think Ant's kind of solidified himself as a top 5 player in basketball since Tatum will be out all of next year. But I'm going to focus now more on the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, I would love a Knicks Timberwolves NBA Finals. That would be awesome to see
Yeah,
who truly won the Cat Randall deal, settle it in a 7-game series in the biggest stage of basketball, NBA Finals. That would be awesome. Do I think that'll happen? No. I don't think I think it'll be the opposite actually. I think the Thunder win in 7, and I think the Pacers win in 6. I
okay,
I've liked Tyrese Halliburton. What he's done this playoffs has just been nothing short of amazing. I think he's proving every NBA player that voted him the most overrated player in basketball. I think he's proving every single one of those players wrong, like
for sure.
Rick Carlisle has been saying. I think Rick Carlisle has been a great coach for Indiana. Pascal Siakam this postseason is still averaging 18 points a game. Andrew Nimhard, like we know, is averaging almost 15 points per game in his entire playoff career. He's going to go down as one of the best playoff risers of this generation compared to his regular season stats. TJ McConnell's great off the bench, great point guard to have. Miles Turner, we all know about Miles Turner, what he can do. Just stretch five, block so many shots, get those offensive rebounds like a team needs. And I think just this Pacers team coming off of a pretty easy win against arguably the best team in basketball in the Cleveland Cavaliers. Although the Cavs were banged up, Garland wasn't 100%, Hunter wasn't 100%, Mobley wasn't 100%. Yes, that is true. But you still beat the Cleveland Cavaliers pretty convincingly. Like it did not look like a struggle at all for Indiana. I mean, there were lots of blowouts, lots of domination in that series, and it was just like, this is not the same Cavs team we've seen. And it's not like the same Pacers team we've seen. This Pacers team has gotten even better, it seems like, this postseason. Everyone. And yeah, I give the Knicks credit. They beat the Celtics in 6. But Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles in Game 4 kind of changes the whole outlook on the series. And I don't know. I think the Celtics really could have came back from down 3-1 if they had Tatum. I think it was very possible for Boston to come back from that. And with the Tatum Achilles injury, you're going to need a bunch of guys to step up. And a lot of guys went silent in that closeout game 6 that the Knicks finally won. Drew Holiday, Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, but I'm not holding it against Kristaps Porzingis really because he has that illness that he's been dealing with. He got taken out of Game 5 with the Celtics won for the entire second half because Joe Mazzulla said he couldn't breathe at all, and he basically was only going to play if it was really needed, and it wasn't needed because the Celtics won pretty convincingly in Game 5. And I think Porzingis honestly shouldn't have played at all. It was just he wasn't being productive to the team at all, and you could tell that illness was really taking a toll on his play.
Yeah.
But Knicks, Pacers head-to-head, I think Brunson, you could say, is better than Tyrese, but I think Tyrese has been such a riser these playoffs. He's been so clutch that it's like Tyrese's unpredictability in the fourth quarter, just what he can do, how he can pop off in that fourth quarter. He's been the clutchest player in the playoffs, no doubt in my mind. And then you have guys like Andrew Nembhard who are playing out of their mind right now. You have guys like Miles Turner playing their role perfectly and even going above and beyond. You have guys like Pascal Siakam almost averaging 20 a game. With playoff experience, Pascal Siakam has a ring that he won in 2019 with the Raptors. And I think the Pacers are just a better team a better built team to win a 7-game series. And they're going to have way more rest since Knicks went into a deep series against Detroit, went 6 games against Boston, and the Pacers in both series against the Bucks and Cavs. They've been tougher matchups, I think, for the Pacers than the Timberwolves, because I think the Pacers have still had to kind of up the gears a little bit in some games against the Cavs and Bucks, but I don't think the Timberwolves have truly been tested yet. And I think with the Pacers extra rested, the NBA playoffs are really all about being healthy, and the Pacers look very healthy right now, so I think finals has got to be Pacers Thunder.
Yeah, so do I. And also, who could have made a better script than this? Back-to-back years with Brunson and Halliburton. Knicks trying to get their revenge, but I don't think they will because, like we said, Rick Carlisle. Also, Tibbs just hasn't ever been able to really get it done, especially with the Knicks. But this, I have a question. Would you view this Knicks season as a success? Because I have my answer, but I'll let you go first. If they lose to the Pacers.
If they lose in the Western Conference Finals. This is the farthest the Knicks have gone since, I believe it's over 20 years. So, right away as a fan, that's a success. If we haven't been to the Eastern Conference Finals in over 20 years, I mean, we had decent teams. If I'm a Knicks fan, we had decent teams. J.R. Smith, Carmelo Anthony, Amari Stoudemire days. They weren't the greatest. They never made it that far. And I think this is probably the best Knicks team possibly this century. I think Cat is the best center the Knicks have had since Patrick Ewing. And I don't think that's really a close debate. I think Brunson's been so good for the Knicks. He brings that Knick culture, that kind of arrogance you need to play for the New York Knicks, kind of have that confidence in yourself to put the city on your back and know it's going to be on you, and fans are relying on you and having that confidence still to hit that big shot. I mean, Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year. So I think for sure this is a successful season for the Knicks. And I want to look back at the Cat Julius Randle deal. Who do you think won that? Since both teams are in the conference finals right now, the Timberwolves have been firing from all cylinders, not even having a close series, really. And the Knicks have kind of battled in both their series, but Cat has been a game changer in both those series, and he's been amazing, but so has Julius Randle for the Timberwolves. So who do you think won that trade?
Um, that's a great question because both like when the trade came out in early or late September, everyone was saying it was a lose because you need Cat in Minnesota. That's what everyone was saying to pair with Rudy. But they're in the conference finals. The Timberwolves are in the conference finals. Both players are playing so well. I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves though because the Knicks. Let's say because I don't think they're gonna win the finals even if they beat the Pacers. I don't think they're going to give away their whole future, and I think this is the Knicks' golden year to win a championship in a weaker East, without the top seeds. But they give up their whole future for Cat and Mikal Bridges. So I think, and the Timberwolves didn't have to give up too much to get Julius Randle and trade away Cat. And I still think the Timberwolves have more glory days ahead than the Knicks, which is terrible for Knicks fans because they've been terrible for 25 years, good for the last 3 now. I think 3 years from now, it's going to go back down because Brunson will be 31 by then. I doubt they're going to keep the Nova core together, or even behind that, Towns will be pushing mid 30s by then.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it to the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Noah. Brunson's the oldest superstar left in this playoffs, as Shea's only 26. So this only Ant's fourth year in the NBA. Brunson's 28, and then Tyrese Halliburton, youngest guy here. Yeah, I just think, like you said, I think it's going to be this their golden year because they lost all their future trading for Mikal Bridges, trying to keep those Nova Knicks together. But then they trade Dante DiVincenzo right after, so they lost the Nova Knicks. Kind of weird to me. And then you trade away DiVincenzo, you trade away Randall for Cat, and Cat is aging. Obviously, what is he? His 10th year in the NBA.
Yeah.
10th year in the NBA. He was drafted in 2015, first overall by Minnesota. So I don't think Cat has too many years ahead of him. I think Brunson might start to go downhill, like you said, in those next 3 years when he's around 31. Josh Hart, the way he hustles and just puts his heart onto the court every night, I think that's going to come back to haunt him in his older years. I think OG can kind of be the cornerstone since he's kind of the younger guy. Him and Mikal are kind of the younger guys, but with how many picks the Knicks gave up to get Mikal and how they really don't have any of their own picks for the future, it's how can you really believe in them? In the upcoming future when the T-Wolves are a very young team besides Gobert and Randall, and they have all their picks. They have young guys, who knows what Illinois alum Terrence Shannon can do. I know he didn't do much this year, but we saw what he could do in college, Already has his number retired at Illinois. Rob Dillingham. Upside down, yeah. Rob Dillingham, we know what Rob did last year at Kentucky. Rob was awesome and drafted super high in the first round. So I think Jaden McDaniels, obviously, if he improves his offensive game even more, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in basketball. So, yeah, I think the Timberwolves have a brighter future, so I think they would slightly win the deal. I think they have a better chance to win the conference finals, too. So I think they would slightly win the deal. But it's still a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, I agree. And then one more thing I want to talk about. I said it briefly earlier, but good for Miles Turner, man. I mean, he's been here for 10 years now. He's been what seems like he's been on the trade block every year. They've been looking to trade him at the deadline. He's stayed loyal to Indy through free agency and all, and he's getting what he deserves because they've had some rough years over the last half decade before the trade for Halliburton and Siakam, and then also early in his career when they were playoffs, but with Victor Oladipo years, but losing to LeBron.
Yeah.
So he's 4 games away from being in his first ever finals. And also, how huge was that Pascal Siakam trade? Because at the deadline last year, the Pacers were an okay team. Like, they were barely in the playoffs. And then, I mean, they were a 6 seed, I want to say, last year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
And a
yeah,
4 this year. But the winning culture with there in Toronto, he knows about winning as an underdog. So hopefully that can mean something upcoming. But yeah.
yeah. My question to you, Noah, is does Miles Turner stay? He's a free agent this offseason, and I know he'll probably, what we're predicting, he'll go to the NBA Finals this year. He'll be in his first finals with his team that drafted him. He's been loyal ever since he's been drafted, but he'll most likely have to take a pay cut from what he deserves and what other teams will probably offer for the Pacers to keep all their guys and be under the cap limit. And do you really feel respected by the organization when what you're the third option behind Siakam and Halliburton, and you've been put on the trade block almost every single year of your career by this organization? Like, kind of, I don't know. It seems kind of sketchy by the Pacers. I wouldn't feel very trusted by them if I've been on the trade block almost every year of my career when I've stayed loyal to them. And if I can go get a bag from another team that needs a big like me, a stretch big like him, like he is, and if I can go chase that bag, especially for a contending team that can also go to the finals like the Pacers. We're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I would first look into what other teams are offering you, like teams that are going to need a center this offseason because there's a good amount. But I would stay with the Pacers. I mean, you've been here through thick and thin. Now you're at winning, and I would take a pay cut because they have a culture right now, and I don't think he would want to lose that considering everything he's been through, like we've touched over. I feel like I would want to like this if they don't win the finals this year. Their finals win does not mean they've closed. They made back-to-back conference finals appearances. Last year, if Halliburton was healthy in the playoffs, who knows? In the Eastern Conference Finals, I mean, against the Celtics.
Yeah.
That was a competitive sweep. They lost almost every game. Every game, I'm pretty sure. Close. And then this year, Tyrese Halliburton's only lost once at home his entire playoff career, which is 2 seasons. But still, I mean, just I would stay because I think their finals window has something like he's a big part of it. It runs through him as the third option on that team.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, Noah, but I don't know. Just the fact that he's been on the trade block almost every year of his career, it just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like he would have enough trust in the organization that if he signed a long-term deal that he'd still be able to stay with the organization. And who knows where the organization may trade him if he does sign a long-term deal and they find a trade option for him. So I don't know. And he could probably be a team's second option, as a lot of teams need big men. So I don't know. I get where you're coming from about, yeah, they're probably going to be in the finals in next week or two, and the window is still open for them to go to another finals, win another finals. But I don't know. The organization's just been so sketchy because he's been on the trade block so much, and the Pacers are known for making trades. They traded DeMontis Sabonis for Tyrese Halliburton. They traded for Pascal Siakam. A lot of their main guys, they traded for Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah.
A lot of their main guys are from trades. So could you see a guy like Turner get traded if he's performing and then really well in the first half of the season next year and deadline comes around, teams still need a center after he re-signs with the Pacers? Maybe the Warriors are like, hey, what if we get Turner? You know, the Warriors obviously need a center. That's what it showed in that Timberwolves series. And they need someone who can score like Turner.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think if he re-signs, it depends on how they do in that first half of the year, which we've not, like the Pacers this year did not play well at all. Halliburton, that's basically the main reason why. he was voted most overrated player, if I had to guess, is because he was not looking like himself
Yeah.
early in the year. But I think that the Pacers, I think the Warriors would be a good fit for him in free agency, but I think if he re-signs it, there's no way they're going to trade.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
But Noah, let's move on to what's happening right now at the time of our recording. A lot of games going on right now in the MLB. Noah, your Cubs are still firing, but no bias involved. I want your top 5 teams in
Okay.
all of Major League Baseball.
I will say, there's no bias involved here, but the Cubs are going to be in my top 5. At number 5, right now in the MLB, I'm going to have the Philadelphia Phillies. They've been playing some very, very good baseball. They've passed the Mets for first place in the NL East, which is a solid division. The Braves have been picking things up as well. The Marlins aren't terrible, and the Nationals are pretty bad. But, in fourth place, I don't know how you're going to feel about this one, but the Minnesota Twins. If this is just power rankings, they are by far the best team in baseball. They've won, 15 games in a row now?
Well, they actually lost their win streak to the Brewers the other night. So, but they were nearing that 15-game win streak, but they lost to the Brewers.
So they were at 13.
Trio. Yeah,
Capped
13.
out at 13. But if we're just going on power, I'm not going off full season, just how good you are at the moment. I'm going to go with them. And then at number 3, I'm going to go with my Chicago Cubs. Swept the White Sox this past weekend, lost bad last night. Pitching, Shota's out till June, which is horrible. But without Shota so far, they've only lost 3 games, I want to say. In his spot, that would be pitching. And then Cade Horton getting called up. He's looked solid as well. I'm going to go with the Detroit Tigers. Far the best team in the AL. They're loaded pitching, obviously Tariq Skubal, but the lineup, that's a very underrated lineup. And then at number 1, the reigning World Series champion, the LA Dodgers. They haven't looked too good this past week, but they're still the Dodgers. I don't know really what else to say. Even when they don't look well, they can still win 1-2 games of a series against anybody.
Yeah, Dodgers are just billionaire team. They're the modern day evil empire, if you will. And yeah. My 5th best team in Major League Baseball, Noah. I'm gonna go your Chicago Cubs. I know there's both your big 2 pitchers in the starting rotation. Justin Steele, Shota, hurt. Steele's out for the year. Like you said, Shota's not coming back for a decent while. And then Matthew Boyd has been pitching well. Colin Ray has been pitching well. Cade Horton, like you said, is called up. Jameson Taillon is a veteran guy who has a lot of experience in Major League Baseball. And no, you didn't talk about this, but Porter Hodge hitting the 15-day IL. I think that's a very bad blow to the bullpen that's already not that good. But we all know about the Cubs offense. The Cubs offense has been just amazing this year. Pete Crow Armstrong, Dansby Swanton's been picking it up. Seiya Suzuki's one of the best DHs in Major League Baseball. Kyle Tucker's going to get $500 million this offseason. Michael Busch has been amazing. Carson Kelly don't even know what that is. Nico Horner's a platinum glover with great contact and great stats with runners in scoring position, by the way. Nico Horner, very clutch guy. We saw Matt Shaw recently just got called back up. Moises Ballesteros had a little stint in the MLB while Ian Happ was on the IL, but Ian Happ just got reinstated today at the time of recording. So Ballesteros is back down in AAA. And yeah, that lineup is just so scary if I'm a pitcher, but also that pitching is so bad if I'm a hitter. So it's kind of the offense has weighed more than the bad pitching. They've outweighed the bad pitching. So that's why the Cubs right now are 28-20 still on the season, first in the NL Central by not a far margin like I thought.
The Cardinals
only
have
one
been
ahead of the Cardinals, but the Cardinals have been going crazy recently. Crazy win streak. I don't get how that happens. The Cardinals, in my opinion, are terrible. But that's beyond the point. Cubs, 5th best team in baseball. My 4th best team in Major League Baseball, Noah. San Diego Padres.
Okay.
I like the Padres a lot. I like what Mike Schilt has done with that organization, that team, that franchise. I think Jace Tingler was one of the worst managers of this generation, honestly. I mean, he was just terrible for the team. Could not control the locker room. There was so much drama between the young kid Tatis, veteran Machado. It just didn't mesh well at all. And I think now that Mike Schilt has come in here, he's a player's manager. All the players have said they love him in San Diego. He controls the locker room. He brings energy to that team. And that offense is so good. Fernando Tatis is probably the MVP frontrunner in the NL right now. And pitching staff, everyone knows about Dylan Cease. Everyone knows about Michael King. I mean, those guys are just filthy. And then probably the best back end of a bullpen in Major League Baseball with Robert Suarez closing out games and Jason Adam as your setup man. I mean, those two are just insane. You still have guys like Jeremiah Estrada with his chitter and throwing 99 in the seventh innings, if you will. I mean, that team overall is just amazing. I love the San Diego Padres. Third for me, Noah, I have the Bronx Bombers, the New York Yankees. I think I like the Yankees a lot this year. I think what Max Fried has been doing, I think he's probably either him or Tarek Skubal, the AL front runner for Cy Young. I think Max Fried has just been so filthy on the mound all year. I think Trent Grisham's probably been the best center fielder in all of the American League. He just every time he steps up to the plate, it seems like the ball's going over the fence at Yankee Stadium. It's insane. Aaron Judge is looking like a right-handed version of Barry Bonds so far. I mean, he's leading the AL in every hitting category possible. I mean, he could win a quintuple crown if that existed. Right now, what Aaron Judge is doing, he's really making a case for being the best right-handed hitter of all time. And then everyone else, like, there's been so many guys. Jason Dominguez has been one of the best rookies in Major League Baseball this year. Cody Bellinger, recently, he's made some swing adjustments. He's opened his stance up a little bit. He's been awesome for the Yankees. Anthony Volpe is playing good defense like he always does. He's an hitter. Jazz Chisholm's not been good. He also is on the IL right now. Ben Rice, Ben Alrose, if you will. You know what I'm saying? The Dominican version of Ben Rice. He's been raking. And I think this Yankees team is just great. Ever since sending Devin Williams, moving him down from that closer role and putting Luke Weaver back in that closer role, I think that was a perfect move by the Yankees. Weaver is just awesome in the ninth inning. He brings that energy. He'll throw gas. 3 straight outs, boom, boom, boom. Devin Williams was terrible in that closer role for the Yankees this year. And then, Noah, my second best team in Major League Baseball, same as you, from the AL Central, the Detroit Tigers. They have taken some blows to the pitching staff. Casey Mize coming off the IL. Reese Olson recently got hurt. But still, Jack Flaherty, Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize. Jackson Jobe. Jackson Jobe is finally picking up where he was supposed to be, filling his role as the 5 starter now for the Tigers. He's going to have to be the 4 starter now that Reese Olson's on the 15-day IL. But Jobe, he said after one of his worst starts of the season, he needs to stop throwing non-competitive pitches. He needs to just keep throwing strikes because his stuff is so filthy that if he just pounds the strike zone, really no one's going to be able to hit it. We saw that at-bat against Bo Bichette and the Blue Jays, 17 inches of run on a sinker, making one of the best contact hitters and one of the best contact shortstops in Major League Baseball and Bo Bichette look absolutely silly at the plate. I think Jobe is finally going to mature, get used to the MLB hitters, keep pounding the zone, keep throwing competitive pitches. His stuff is good enough to be an all-star. I think he'll be great for that pitching staff. The lineup for the Tigers, been amazing. Riley Green, awesome. Zach McKinstry, I love Zach McKinstry, so underrated. They're going to get Jake Rogers back soon, but still Dylan Dingler has been amazing at catcher, so it's like, what are you going to do with Rogers? Torkelson is looking like the Spencer Torkelson we always thought he was supposed to be. They're going to get Matt Vierling back soon from the IL, which that'll be big because he brings so much speed and just the speed-power combo from Vierling is just so nice. And we can't talk about the Tigers without talking about the resurgence of Javier Baez.
Yeah.
The starting center fielder for your Detroit Tigers. Javi Baez has just looked awesome. You love to see when Javier Baez is playing at his best because he has so much confidence. He plays with so much swagger. He just makes the game so much fun. Watching Javi Baez play makes you have a smile on your face. and it's just awesome to see. We saw in the 2017 World Baseball Classic with Puerto Rico. We saw it back in 2017, 2018, 2019 with the Chicago Cubs. He was on the cover of MLB The Show. And we thought his career was over after he was traded to the Mets and then signed with the Tigers, signed a huge deal. We were like, this is an Anthony Rendon level bad signing for the Detroit Tigers after what he did his first 2 years. They moved him to center field. He gets a change of mindset. Tigers had the best record in Major League Baseball. And he's looking like the second best center fielder in the American League behind Trent Grisham right now.
It's great to see as a Cubs fan. Also, along with getting PCA for half a year, probably biased, who's not on the Mets anymore. We'll get to PCA later, though.
Yeah, Noah, I also agree with you for my number one team in Major League Baseball. It's still the LA Dodgers because that money. I mean, just the value of that team and just all the superstars on it. It's hard to bet against the LA Dodgers. I know they've had so many injuries to the pitching staff. It's like they can't get a break. Clayton Kershaw is supposed to be back kind of soon. Roki Sasaki's on the IL, though. We saw his velo dipping a lot down to like the 94, 95 range, which is not what you want out of Roki Sasaki. He's known for throwing 101, 102 like he did in the World Baseball Classic. And if you look at Roki, his pitch shapes for his fastball are terrible. He throws the ball very flat, which doesn't move at all, and it's easier for hitters to hit. So when he's throwing 101, 102, it's still hard to hit because it's so fast. But when he's throwing 94, it looks like a BP fastball almost. And control has been a big issue for Roki as well. This is the most walks per nine he's ever had in his career. Hitters have kind of already figured him out. They figured out how to read the splitter. They figured out how to hit the fastball. And it seems like Roki's on this IL stint. He has that shoulder injury. And I think this is going to be a regrouping 15 days, try to reassess the situation with Roki. And then, Glasnow's been hurt. Snell hurt. Ohtani still hasn't come back hasn't pitched on the mound since his second Tommy John surgery. And yeah, there's just been so many injuries with the Dodgers, but still they're the best team in baseball because they're so deep. I mean, you look at that bullpen: Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Michael Kopech. I mean, Ben Kasparis. Who thought he was going to come onto the scene? He's a rookie this year, and he's probably top 3 right now as a favorite to win Rookie of the Year as a reliever. I mean, it's insane. Blake Trinan, another reliever in that Dodgers bullpen. It's insane. And then the offense still, you have superstars: Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Like, these are the most known names in Major League Baseball. Will Smith at catcher, top 5 catcher in Major League Baseball. And, I mean, the list goes on with the Dodgers, and it's hard to bet against them as the number one team in baseball right now just because all the talent on that roster.
Yeah, for sure. The Dodgers are definitely the favorites still to go back-to-back. But in the AL, this is just the most wide open an AL seems to ever have been. And I know it's only May, but the Tigers are being treated like a 30-win team this early in the season would be getting treated. And obviously everybody's going to talk about the Dodgers, but behind the Tigers, who do you think the second best team is to win the AL?
To win the AL, I'm going to go in a playoff series. I don't know if I go with the New York Yankees because we know in the postseason pitching matters so much. And yes, Max Fried, ace, has been amazing. We don't know the status on Garrett Cole. We don't know the status on Luis Gil. Carlos Rodon has been all right. He's a good 2 guy. And then, Will Warren has been Clark Schmidt is Marcus Stroman sucks. But the Seattle Mariners are first in the AL West, and this hitting is looking amazing. Not the offense we've seen from the Mariners in the past 3 years. And we know their pitching staff is lethal with Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, Bryce Miller, George Kirby, and such a beautiful view, but I can only think about Brian Woo's 4-seam fastball. I don't know if you've seen those videos, Noah, but man, Brian Woo's 4-seam fastball, it's something else. It's only 95, but the movement on it, hit Woo's picture-perfect mechanics, his ability to just pound the zone and hit every spot needed, it's just amazing to see. It's almost every Mariners pitcher's like that, though, besides Castillo, Kirby, Miller, Gilbert, Woo, all of them. Just the ability to hit all their spots, pinpoint perfectly every time is just awesome to see. And I think when postseason time comes around, pitching staff is what carries you, and the Mariners have the best pitching staff in the American League. I don't think there's arguing that unless you want to argue the Tigers, but the Mariners are more proven than the Tigers rotation. So I think the Mariners probably have the second best odds to win the AL this year.
Yeah, Trevin, I couldn't have said it any better myself. I think the best pitching team in the AL is going to win at the end of the day. And also, Jorge Polanco. He is on a heater to start the season. It's not almost 2 months in now. So I think this can continue. I think he's going to have an all-star caliber year in the infield with the glove and the bat. And also, Randy Rosarina is going to do things that he is used to doing come late postseason. Obviously, we know about 2020, Randy Rosarina. It's been a minute since he's been in the postseason, but I think that the Mariners are going to win the AL.
Yeah, we know the electricity Randy brings come October. I mean, what we saw that Linsanity run, people thought it was a Linsanity run in 2020, but realized that's just Randy. That's just Randy for you. I mean, the stuff he was doing in 2020 for Tampa Bay was just insane. And every year in the postseason, he's going to do something electric. He stole home against the Boston Red Sox in the postseason in 2022. No one expected that from Randy. He's always going to be unpredictable in that come October. You know, kind of like I said about Tyrese Halliburton, he's so unpredictable in that fourth quarter. Randy Rosarina for the entire postseason is always unpredictable. You never know what you're going to get with Randy. He's always going to bring some fire to the table. Leo Rodriguez, he had a great postseason when the Mariners made it in 2022. I know they lost. They got swept by the Astros in the ALDS, but they swept the Blue Jays in the Wild Card Series in 2022. That Astros series was very competitive. Game 2 went 18 innings, and they lost 1-0 off of a Jeremy Pena solo homer. They were up 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th in Game 1 and gave up a walk-off 3-run homer to Yordan Alvarez. They competed with the team that eventually won the World Series that year. And I think if we have that Mariners team back with an even better pitching staff, in my opinion, with those 5 starters, you have a great bullpen. Andres Munoz still hasn't given up an earned run this year in over 20 innings pitched. He is just insane as their closer. Throwing gas, filthy kick changeups, filthy sliders. It's amazing to see. Jorge Polanco is looking like switch-hitting Aaron Judge. Polanco had a OPS in the 600s last year. I didn't even think anyone was going to sign Jorge Polanco. I thought he was going to be playing with Trevor Bauer in Japan, honestly. Mariners re-signed him on a very team-friendly contract, and Jorge Polanco is looking like switch-hitting Aaron Judge right now in the AL. I'm so happy for Jorge Polanco. I'm happy his career is finally coming back to life, looking like his 2019 self before he got busted for steroids. And then just the whole Mariners team, Cal Raleigh, we know what he can do behind the dish. Yeah. One of the best fielding catchers in baseball. He's going to hit probably 35, 40 home runs this year. He's on pace to. He's one of the best power hitters in all of Major League Baseball. I think he's the best catcher in Major League Baseball, switch hitter. Great power hitter, great defense overall. It's just awesome to see from Cal, just everything he does for that team. And, yeah, I think what the Mariners have done this year is really special.
For sure. Yeah. But one last thing I will say about baseball so far. The NL, I think I could confidently take 4 teams in the NL that would win the pennant in the AL. I think the Cubs, Dodgers, Padres, and Phillies would all win the NL. And then we could add the Mets there. If
you could say the Giants, too. Giants or Diamondbacks, one of those other NL West teams, whichever one you're more confident in. I know the Mets have kind of taken a slide. There's been some drama. Carlos Mendoza doesn't look too happy at the manager position, you know. There's been some drama in the locker room, like Buster Olney reported. He said no one likes each other really in that locker room. Soto doesn't look like he wants to be there at all. No. Not hustling out of the box against Boston the other day. Not hustling out of the box against the Yankees the other day. Yeah. And I don't know, just the Mets don't seem like the Mets last year. Last year, the Mets, vibes were high. Team was just clicking on all levels. You know, Jose Iglesias, OMG. Yeah. It was just like so awesome.
San Diego.
Yeah. The grimace Mets, as people were calling the 2024 Mets last year. And it just seems like that team's the opposite this year. It just seems like the team is gray and dull. It seems like this team is 10 times more talented than the team looked last year.
Yeah.
But it looks 10 times worse chemistry-wise. The pitching
That
staff has been the best pitching staff in baseball, but it's just no one likes each other. And it's like, how can you win a World? Alex Cora said this on the Red Sox documentary on Netflix. Not all good clubhouses make it to the postseason, but I've never seen a bad clubhouse make it to the postseason.
yeah.
And that's exactly what the Mets have this year. It's a terrible clubhouse.
But yeah, I agree with you for sure. I don't think the Mets are going to do anything this postseason. I think the Phillies definitely passed them. But let's move on.
Yeah, Noah, let's go into our favorite teams segment, what we do every episode, where we talk about all of our favorite teams, all the news and drama that's going on with our favorite teams, what our outlooks are on the favorite team. And Noah, I know there's a lot to say about your Chicago Cubs, so I'll let you take the floor.
All right. So the Cubs, this past weekend was the Crosstown Classic. After winning 2 of 3 against the Marlins last week, the Cubs played the Crosstown Classic against the White Sox. Rough first inning, Miguel Vargas 2-run shot, but then in the bottom of the second, the Cubs scored 6, including a PCA 3-run shot to give the Cubs the lead, and then say a RBI double and 2 infield singles and errors. The Cubs electric offense. PCA had more RBIs than the White Sox did runs this past series, and beating the White Sox is nothing. But this had a lot of hype around it in Chicago. I think White Sox fans were celebrating after every first inning because they had a good first inning in every game that series. The pitching, like we said earlier, Shota out until at least late June, which sucks. I'm gonna be gone by then. Hopefully when I get back, he's back and dealing after the break. And then Porter Hodge, I was questioning why he wasn't in last night after Daniel Palencia gave a walk-off triple to Jesus Sanchez. He's on the 15-day IL, so arguably the 3 best pitchers right now on the Cubs roster are on the IL, but someone who hasn't been talked about at all, Colin Ray. He's having such a good year with the Cubs this year. Quiet free agent signing. He hasn't had a bad outing. Right now, top of the 9th inning, Cubs are at 9-1. I think our bullpen's good enough to say we're going to win this one, but you'll never know. Marlins position player in the game. You love to see that. That means the Cubs are going to fly the W and look to win the series tomorrow. We can't lose the series to the Marlins. As I'm talking, Justin Turner gets an RBI single, 10-1. That's about it for the Cubs. You play the Reds this weekend. They're looking decent. And also, Matt Shaw getting his recall, sending Nicky Lopez down. Hopefully he's the guy. He's 2 for 4 tonight. He had an RBI double, and then he had a good series last night, or a good game last night. Excuse me. He was on such a heater in the minors. He needed to be sent up after starting the year up. And he's been good with the glove both times he's been up. Yeah. And then nothing much else really happening. The Bulls got the 12th pick in the draft. We haven't talked about the lottery yet. But coin flip away from getting the number 1 overall pick. So if we lost one more game last year, he probably would have got the number 1 overall pick. I want Derek Queen. I don't think he's going to be there at 12, though. Colin Kneppel seems like the best available player that will be there at 12. Maybe Casper Siakatunis, but y'all know how I feel about him. I don't like him, and it's not just because I'm a Northwestern fan. I just think he turns the ball over way too much and is inefficient offensively. But the only news that really happened in Northwestern basketball, it was on Northwestern night at Wrigley. Chris Collins, Nick Martinelli, and Brooks Barnes are saying the 7th inning stretch. I was wearing this sweatshirt, which on the back of it is Nick Martinelli. I saw him. He saw me. Sorry, he saw me and wanted to flick up. And then I saw Brooks. We were sitting about 10 rows in front of them, same section. Cubs lost that game, but they won the series against the Marlins. But yeah, it's dead point in the NFL right now, and also in the NBA really post lottery for teams that are eliminated from the playoffs. Yeah, right now it's just the Cubs in Northwestern baseball missed the Big Ten tournament this year, but it's a step in the right direction. I watch a tiny bit, but I don't watch that much. But everyone's saying it's a step in the right direction because we tripled our Big Ten win total from last year. Well, still missing the Big Ten tournament, but I'll let you have the stage.
Okay, so like you said, Noah, nothing really going on in the NFL right now. It's pretty much the dry season for the NFL. But MLB, my Tampa Bay Rays were playing the Houston Astros right now at home, just into the sixth inning. We're down 2-0 right now. Hoping we can spark a comeback. We lost game one of the series last night, and everyone's blaming the Rays' troubles on we aren't comfortable at George Steinbrenner Field. It really isn't a home field advantage. Oh, the locker room's too small. We don't feel comfortable. Well, neither is the team that's visiting. They have an even smaller clubhouse, and it's not going to be comfortable for them either, but they're winning all the games when they come to us. We just got to start winning baseball games. We had that amazing road stretch going out to the West Coast, taking 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks, sweeping the Padres. We looked hot, and then we go back home, and we lose at home, and we lose at home, and we lose at home. It's got to stop. Something's got to happen. I mean, there's going to be some guys coming back from injuries. Josh Lowe, he just recently came back from injury. That's clutch for the team. Chandler Simpson got a little banged up in the Marlins game, sliding home, but he's still playing. Johnny DeLuca should be coming back pretty soon. Shane McClanahan, who knows what's going on with him. Ha-Sung Kim, when he returns, he'll play shortstop every day for the rest of the season. I think when Ha-Sung Kim comes back, I think the Rays will really have a push for third place in the AL East and overtake the Blue Jays for third place in the AL East and be behind the Yankees and Red Sox. Maybe even push for a wild card spot once Ha-Sung Kim comes back and the team's fully healthy. Because we know how good the Rays bullpen is. Edwin Uceta's amazing. Garrett Clevenger's amazing. Pete Fairbanks, awesome. Mason Montgomery throws gas. I mean, the bullpen is not the problem. Really, the starting rotation isn't the problem either most of the time. It's the offense. The offense isn't helping the starting rotation at all. And then basketball, NBA, draft lottery came out. Magic have 2 first-round picks. Neither are in the lottery, though, so it doesn't really matter too much. But Magic do have 2 first-round picks. Hoping the Magic can take Florida boy Walter Clayton Jr. I think that'd be amazing for the team. We need shooting very badly. And I think Walter Clayton Jr. is obviously one of the best shooters in the draft. So that would be amazing. You know, he's a guard. We need guards. And then the other spot, we just need more shooting. I mean, if Con Knippel falls out of the lottery, which some people have seen him fall out of the lottery, the Magic have already met with Con Knippel. If we can get Knippel, that'd be even better than Walter. Yeah, I just think we really need a lot of shooting. Maybe another big, so like Ben Seraph out of Israel. Wouldn't be mad at that. Or Ben Seraph, however you say it. And then college football season, less than 100 days away. I'm so ready for the Florida Gators. We're going to be so back this year. You know, DJ Lagway, Trey Wilson's returning again. We're going to have Jaden Baugh, who's going to be in a true sophomore year next year. Dallas Wilson, 4-star recruit from Tampa Bay Tech High School. He's already playing in spring ball for us. He's been looking good in the spring game. The defense is going to be amazing. All-American Jake Slaughter playing center. He returned back to Florida. I think the team's going to be good this year. I think this is Billy's make-or-break year. I think he's got to really do good. One of the toughest schedules, but I think he's still got to do pretty good. Maybe even make a college football playoff push. I think this roster has the capabilities of doing that. And then lastly, college basketball world, Boogie Fland at the time recording today, committed to the Florida Gators. Huge transfer from Arkansas, averaged about 13 points a game this year. That's just going to help our guard play, help replace Walter. Won't fully replace everything that Walter did for us, but it can help replace Walter for sure. Yeah, we got Zaven Lee already. Denzel Aberdeen unfortunately left, but we're still going to have Tommy Houck. Ruben Chinyelu announced he's returning. Hopefully Alex Condon announces he's returning, and then we'll have the starting 5. Boogie Fland, Zaven Lee, Thomas Houck, Alex Kahn and Ruben Chinulu. I think that team has the potential to go back to back, honestly. And then one final thing, college baseball, Florida. We started off 1-11 in conference play, and now we're 500 in conference play. I think we're playing in the SEC tournament. And yeah, the injuries have kind of been unfortunate. Luke Heyman, he's out for the season with a wrist injury. Cade Kurland, he's been out for the season for a while now. But I think just the pitching staff with Florida is so awesome that the offense really doesn't need to do too much. I mean, offense is going to happen in college baseball. If you watch college baseball at all, metal bats, everyone hits bombs. So I'm not really too worried. Brody Dene is going to replace Heyman at catcher. I mean, 6'5" catcher that hits 500-foot bombs. Sign me up. And yeah, I think the Florida Gators could make another deep run the College World Series this year. Hopefully, we've had a bounce back already from 1-11 to 500. I mean, that's already awesome. Teams aren't going to look at us super highly, but this Florida Gators team is always going to be able to do something good when we have O'Sully as our manager. That about wraps it up, everybody, for episode 4